insights, picks, results. This is Wizard Sports Picks. Beyond the Lines.
Welcome to another edition of Beyond the Lines presented by Wizard Sports Picks for Sunday, February 15th. Ian Cameron with you, and we are ready to talk two college basketball games for Sunday, an early game and then a night game. We're going to go to the Summit League for one and the Missouri Valley Conference for the other. Lots of mid-major action going on in college basketball on Sunday, and we'll pick out two games to talk about and give you some winning advice, hopefully winning advice with these two games and some winning picks for two of the games on Sunday. But before we get to that, we want to remind you to check out wizardsportspicks.com. Tons of great handicappers. There are so many colleagues on the website in great form. For me, from the very beginning, it's been just a rock solid, steady, profitable run in all sports from day one. Number one in the NFL this season at wizardsportspicks.com. Number one currently in the NHL this season at Wizard Sports Picks. And, of course, the season in the NHL will resume Wednesday, February 25th after the Winter Olympics. We're having a profitable NBA season. Lots of college basketball still on the way. Of course, we're getting closer and closer to March. Conference tournaments right around the corner. And, of course, the big one, the NCAA tournament right around the corner. So make sure now's the time to really check out the website and put your trust in our handicappers at wizardsportspicks.com. You know, buy some daily premium picks or get on board long term. We now have 3-day, 7-day, 30-day, and 1 year, all sports, all access subscription options available. Get onto the homepage as well and enter your email address on the homepage to get free picks sent to your inbox each and every day. And a reminder that every Friday at wizardsportspicks.com is Wizard Friday. And on Fridays on the website, you will get all daily premium picks discounted to $4.99 for non-guaranteed premium picks and $9.99 for guaranteed premium picks. Take advantage. Fridays, $4.99 for non-guaranteed premiums, $9.99 for guaranteed premium picks at the website every Friday. It's a great deal, a great bargain to check out any of our handicappers' daily premium picks every Friday. Make sure you check out the website for that as well over at wizardsportspicks.com. All right, let's get into Sunday's two games that I have handpicked and selected to hopefully give you a couple of winners. We're going to go with one total and one side, and we're going to start with Denver and Nebraska Omaha in Summit League action. The current line is Nebraska Omaha at home, 2.5-point home favorites. The total sitting at 159.5 in this game. Now, if you've been following my selections on the website, you know that this team, in regards to overs, has been on my card too many times to count, quite honestly. And that's the Denver Pioneers, who for the majority of the season have been the single strongest over team in all of college basketball. And even in the last month, where we've started to see this team alternate overs and unders in their last 10 games, even with that, they are still an incredible 19-5 to the over in their 24 lined games this season. Now, their last game did not go over the total. It was a 79-61 victory at home over South Dakota State. And to be honest, it was a terrific defensive effort. But it's not the kind of defensive effort we see routinely from the Pioneers. A lot of the times when they've won games and they've covered point spreads, they've done it by outscoring the opponent. They haven't done it by playing shutdown defense. You look at the game against Oral Roberts. They gave up 87, but they scored 98. You look at the game against North Dakota State. They gave up 71, but they scored 78. North Dakota, they scored 98. You know, there's been games where they've scored enough, but they've given up too much. The first meeting against North Dakota, they scored 86, Denver, but they gave up 93. There's been a lot of games where they've had to outscore the opponent. There hasn't been many games where they've held the opponent in the 60s. And if you look at how you don't trust teams defensively to do it 2 games in a row, I kind of feel that way about Denver. You know, we saw this Denver team go on the road against UMKC, one of the weaker offensive teams in this conference, and they beat them 69-61. It was another great defensive effort. But were they able to carry that defensive effort over into the next game and play another strong defensive game? No, they did not. Because in their very next game, after keeping UMKC to 61 points, they proceeded to lose at home 84-82 to Nebraska Omaha, the team they're facing here in this game. So it's actually a revenge spot here for the Denver Pioneers. But they gave up 84 points. They lost 84-82 in that game to Nebraska Omaha. I think you're going to see this Denver team certainly, look to bounce back offensively here a little bit, because against South Dakota State they did enough offensively, but I think they're capable of even better. They lost 84-82 to Nebraska Omaha in that first game. Nebraska Omaha comes into this game just red hot offensively. You look at what they've been able to do. They've got a very strong home court as well. They've won, it looks like, 2 straight home games entering this one, and have a winning record at home this year. They're coming off a very nice win outright as a dog against St. Thomas, the Tommies, 98-94. This team is certainly scoring the basketball right now. And again, we've got Denver coming off a very rare, tremendous defensive game where they held South Dakota State to 61. And the last time we saw them play a great defensive game like that, we saw them proceed to, give up 84 in their next game. So I don't have full confidence in Denver bringing it on the defensive end 2 games in a row. I also think they're going to score the ball well here, because the one thing about Omaha, even in the win against St. Thomas, they gave up 94 points. They gave up 92 to North Dakota State before that. They gave up 76 in a loss at North Dakota. They gave up 82 to this Denver team at Magnus Arena in Denver in the first meeting. So I think Denver will be able to put up points offensively against a very bad, struggling Nebraska-Omaha defense. But I don't trust Denver's defense to do it 2 games in a row, because the last time they gave us evidence of a good defensive game, they didn't play good the next game defensively. So I think both teams score their share of points. It was 84-82 in the previous meeting between them a few weeks ago in Denver. 166 points. It went over the total. I think we can get this game into the 160s as well. Denver, Nebraska, Omaha, over 159.5. Denver, Nebraska, Omaha, over 159.5. My first of 2 picks here on this edition of Beyond the Lines in Sunday college basketball action. The second game, we're going to go to Missouri Valley action on Sunday night, and this is a good one. This is the top 2 teams in the Missouri Valley right now. Belmont, the number 1 team, and in second place, Murray State right behind them, and these 2 teams will face off on Sunday night. I'm old enough to remember when these 2 teams were bitter rivals in a completely different conference. If you remember a long time ago, these 2 teams played in the Ohio Valley Conference, the OVC, Belmont and Murray State. But they've now been in the Missouri Valley for a handful of years now, but that tells you how old I'm getting. I'm recalling days of when Belmont and Murray State were both in a totally different conference and they were rivals. Well, they're still rivals, but now they're rivals in a different conference in the Missouri Valley. We've got Murray State 1.5-point home favorites in this game. We've got a total anywhere from 169.5 to 170.5 here for this game. Belmont is not an easy team to step in front of right now. I will say that. This is a Belmont team, and Casey Alexander, the head coach, he's done a spectacular job here. This is a very, very potent offensive team, 9-1 straight up in their last 10 games, and they've done it with just an unbelievable offensive array, shooting 51.6%, 5th field goal percentage in the country offensively. 51% they're shooting for the season. 30%, 30% from as far as field goal percentage, or field goals made, I should say, 30 field goals per game. 27th in the country, 5th in the country is with a 3-point percentage, 40.1% from the perimeter. This is just a very, very potent offensive team. They're averaging 83.7 points per game on the season. And it's not going to be easy for Murray State to contain them. And Murray State didn't contain them in the first meeting at Belmont, January 31st. 103-86 Belmont. 2.5-point home favorites. They won that game going away by 17 points. Belmont's actually won and covered 5 straight. So you're probably thinking I'm on Belmont, right? Not so fast. This is not something I normally do either. When you see Belmont 5-0 straight up, 5-0 against the spread, the last 5 meetings against Murray State, usually I'll ride the performance patterns or I'll leave the game alone. But I'm a believer in Murray State. I am. And I know they've had some tough sledding of late. They've been tripped up a few times. They haven't played their best basketball, 3-5 in their last 8 games overall. They've lost on the road to Northern Iowa, Drake, to this Belmont team. They also had a couple of home losses, believe it or not. They got bombed the last time they played at home, 89-60 by Northern Iowa. They also lost at home to Illinois State. So Murray State was one of these teams that in the non-conference, they were red hot. They haven't been showing that same cohesion, consistency at both ends of the court here in Missouri Valley play. And let's be honest, this is a very competitive conference, more competitive than I think a lot of people think and realize. So once you get into conference play and coaches and other teams kind of are familiar with you, it's going to be difficult. And I think we've kind of seen that for Murray State, but they're off that 17-point loss in the first meeting against Belmont. The last time they were in this building, they got blown out. They got it handed to them by Northern Iowa, who aren't necessarily the most prolific offensive team. And Northern Iowa still came in to this building, Murray State's home court, and put 89 points on the board against them. That was the last home game last week. That's not going to sit well with Murray State. And the one thing I can tell you about Murray State is this team has been good as far as not losing 2 games in a row on this home court. They haven't done that one single time this season, and they are still 11-2 straight up this season, Murray State at home. So I am going to take Murray State here in this game. I like this spot. I like this price. You can get Murray State on the money line here at -125, and that's going to be the official recommendation. We're not going to lay the 1.5. We're just going to take Murray State on the money line, -125 in this game. I think they've got a real chance to exact some payback here against Belmont. There are some indicators and some numbers I look at that indicate that Belmont is probably due for a little bit of negative shooting regression. Very difficult to keep this up. The way, as great offensively as they are, to keep it up indefinitely is not always easy. And for Murray State, this is a strong home court where they're 11-2 on the year. And I think there's really something to be said about Murray State really wanting to put a good foot forward here, knowing that the last time they played here on their home floor, it was a no-show, and they got totally embarrassed by Northern Iowa. I think that will stick in their minds going into this game, and it will fuel them here in this opportunity for a rematch against Belmont. And don't underestimate how big a game this is for Murray State as far as standings are concerned. If they lose this game, kiss winning the regular season title in the Missouri Valley Conference goodbye and getting the number 1 seed for the conference tournament. But suddenly, if Murray State wins this game, the race for the number 1 seed and the regular season Missouri Valley title is back on again. Because if Murray State wins, they improve to 12-5 in conference play. Belmont drops to 13-4 in conference play, and suddenly there's a 1-game difference and 1-game gap between Belmont and Murray State for the top spot in the Missouri Valley. So this is a huge game for Murray State. I expect them to play like it, and this time I expect them to win and snap the head-to-head win streak that Belmont has against Murray State. So Murray State -125 against Belmont for my second pick here on this edition of Beyond the Lines. That's a wrap for this edition of the show. Thanks for tuning in. Check out the website, wizardsportspicks.com. Hit the like button on the way out. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Sunday. Cash some tickets. Enjoy the games and good luck. And thanks for tuning in to the Sunday, February 15th edition of Beyond the Lines, presented by Wizard Sports Picks.